What is going on, my Reefing fan? March here. This is Fragbox TV. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, actually, hold on, before we get into it, let me just say a proper hello. If you're new, welcome. This is our saltwater store here in Toronto. We are in Ontario, which happens to be in Canada, so wherever you're watching from, hola. Okay, I want to do a video on spot feeding because it's something that brings me a great deal of pleasure here in the store. It's one of my favorite activities. There's a whole long list of never-ending activities as a retail store owner that has to do with corals here, but one of the things, like, not everything makes me smile, you know, like doing payroll or I don't know, sweeping the floor, but spot feeding the corals, it just feels right. It just feels good. And so I want to do that. I want to show you guys how I do it. And I also want to give away some of my favorite food that's out there is the Vitalis food. I'm actually just shot a video a couple weeks ago with them at the factory, and I am just waiting for them basically to give me their approval and say, yeah, release it to the world and show them what an amazing and cool company we are. So if you comment below, we will pick a random winner and we'll send you these three: the LPS coral pellets, the Vitalis mixed reef food, and the Vitalis anemone pellets. This is probably the most popular food, or bestseller at least for us, just because it's a really convenient way to feed your anemones. It packs a punch, high protein, and it's in a nice pellet size that you just drop into their mouth. Speaking about anemones, we don't get these all too often. We have a really nice selection of rock flower nems. Now, the feeding on these is going to be really quick. There's really not much to it. It's almost like kibble, and I really like that they are raw. They're not baked, so you don't lose all the nutrients. You lose a lot of nutrients when you cook the food, and it's soft. You see that? And it's as easy as just popping one of these in their mouth. If you don't want to put your hands in, you could use a feeder like this one, specially designed by us. It's really simple. Just a long, skinny turkey baster. We call it the Coral Chef because you are the chef, but you're feeding the corals. And bloop. That's it. If you want your nems to grow, feed them. If you don't want your nems to grow, maybe you have a small aquarium like this stunning. Hi Will, how's it going?
How's it going?
Reef Casa Studio 12. And the nems are beginning to take over, stop feeding them. You can end up in situations very quickly like this, where the nems just grow so rapidly. This starts from 1 to 2 to 4 to 16, 32, 64, 128. Next thing you know, your whole tank is just anemones. But it's really a great food. Okay, so I want to show you this stuff. Dun, da, da, da. I love feeding this. There are a few corals in particular that I really like feeding this stuff. Same idea, raw, smaller. And I do it in kind of a weird way. I like to feed heavy. Maybe don't do this if you're dealing with, you know, make sure your tank is in control before you feed. I feed like very heavy-handed, but I'm allowed for a couple of reasons. One, I own the place. Two, the total system volume here is massive. So it's like 2,000 plus something gallons. You see a couple frag tanks here, and oh, where's the sump? The sump's in the basement, and it's all connected. It's one really big, large, massive system, so I can feed heavy, and it's not really going to do anything to the water quality. We also have a ton of corals in the store too, so they're going to help consume all of that corals. It can really act as a form of nutrient export if you have enough of them and the correct ones. Now, this is a little crazy trick. This is designed for LPS. See, it's got the hammer on the front. This is designed for just about everything else. I'm a crazy person, so what I do is mix the two together. Now, follow the directions on here. They do give you a little spoon. You do not need this much. This is just for video presentation, and really you could feed them separately, but I'm telling you, this works together. Now, I'm going to show you one more trick in my little arsenal here. We add our salt water. That's the trick. No, that's not the trick. This is what I'm going to show you. Mix it. That's the trick. That's not the trick. I'm just messing around. Again, this is a lot. Let's say you have a Fluval Evo 13.5 gallon. You're going to nuke your whole tank feeding this much food. The amount of nutrients in there is going to be crazy. It's just for video purposes. I add something cold to the mix. Why? Because of physics. Is that a reason? Because if we're adding things that are warm to the water, warm things tend to float just like warm air. So I want the things to sink. So pick anything cold, add some ice to it, refrigerate it. I like taking some other products, some other foods, and then I'll just make it more to my slurry and just making it cold by adding something cold, because cold things tend to sink. I want these things to sink into the mouth of the corals. I don't want it floating away. I don't want it just getting lost into the water column. Now, one of the most amazing corals to feed has got to be Duncans. When you feed Duncan coral, they're super reactive. I think out of all the LPS, there isn't a single more reactive and more satisfying coral to feed. You can see as they sense the food, the way they just, oh, look at that. There's so much movement. It's not like they're just passively absorbing the food. They're actively closing, almost like an anemone. And it's really amazing to watch how they're able to do it without anything that resembles a mind. As far as we know, corals don't have a brain, but I'm convinced that somehow there's some sort of intelligence there somewhere, you know, because how does it know to close and consume the food and then eat it and then open back up? It's got to have what appears to be some sort of intelligence. Maybe the intelligence is actually in every single cell, who knows, but love feeding these. This is a coral that's really, really easy to keep, and if you want it to grow, it'll grow already without the feeding. It just takes it to a whole nother level. I think as hobbyists, we leave so much color and growth on the table, and we underestimate how powerful feeding is. If you watch the video that I shot over in Indonesia, you can see there's just particles, there's just reef snow. These things are eating virtually all day. With the current, there's just stuff always passing over top of them. Now, this is another coral I like to feed, not as a dramatic initial response, but if we give them a couple minutes to absorb the food, within maybe 3 to 4 minutes, you're going to see how they eat. And these are the Acanthostreas. You can, Acan Lord is what I call them. I know that technically the Latin name has changed. They are now called Micromusa, which is what I refer to commonly as this one, right next to them. Micromusas, but they have changed for whatever reason. Taxonomically, is that a word? You know, for so many years, 15 years, I was calling them Acan Lord, so I feel like I'm stuck. It's hard to teach this dog new tricks. Now, these ones, you don't really have to worry about overfeeding them, because if you give them too much, they're really just going to spit it out. And what I do here is I turn off the flow for about 20 minutes to really give them a chance to absorb that food and digest it. Yumas, Recordias, mushrooms, Discosomas, Rhodactis, all of them, same idea. They love this stuff. And usually I do this at the end of the day when the corals they don't need to look their best, because we're about to close. So usually right before closing is when I'm going to feed. It's even on our to-do list for the staff, you know, to give them a little bit of extra love. Scolemias, another very active eater. Really any LPS coral that has a mouth. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, which LPS coral doesn't have a mouth? They all have a mouth for a reason. That is for eating. Even some corals like this Raja Rampage Chalice, this one number 448, that doesn't really look like it has a mouth, but inside every single eye, which is designated with that yellow spot there, inside every single one of those is actually a mouth. So I'm going to do the same thing, give them a little bit of food. Another tip, when I'm doing this, I like to feed the fish first so that they bugger off, because they will many times bother the coral. It's very tricky to feed if you have like a blood shrimp or cleaner shrimp. You want to go and get them fed first so that they just get completely out of the way. Otherwise, they're going to come and they're going to steal all the food out of the coral's mouth. Sometimes they don't even mean to, but they can damage the coral with their little claws. I'm sure that they're not trying to damage it, but they are ravenous when it comes to this stuff. Blastomusas, another coral that loves to eat. Even palithoas, like these big purple pali death right next to it. Look how they close right around it. Thank you for that vitalis. Florida Recordia. We haven't had these in a while. Do they like to eat? Absolutely. Who doesn't? Pipe organs. Flower pot. These guys, same thing. For a long time, it was thought that they were non-photosynthetic and that you had to feed them. I find they do better in aquariums with feeding. But I want to say they are photosynthetic, but I think there's 22 different subspecies of Goniphora, so it's hard to know or say for sure. I gotta apologize for the shaky camera. The camera's kind of heavy and I'm trying to balance and feed at the same time, so just wanted to say sorry if it's a little bit shaky on your side. Rainbow Dynamite Chalice. These are one of the few corals I think is really deserving of the name rainbow. It is like, you can really get 4 or 5 different colors. Again, a piece that doesn't look like it would eat, but I'm gonna drop that on there and then just give them a little bit of time, and we're gonna see all those eyes are gonna open into individual mouths. Then they send out these little stringers and will actually suck them in. Pectinia, again, surprising that it eats. See these yellow parts here? That is where the mouth is going to come out on these Space Invaders. And the same goes for Favia. So much better color on these guys. We just fragged them, so they're a little bit stressed. I can't tell you how nice they're going to look. I can just show you. In the next 2 to 3 weeks, they get the most vivid yellow rim. And this is definitely part of it. Ooh, plate coral. That's a good one. And this is perfect right here. I have this stunning Blastomusa, but you can see it's got some tissue recession. So sometimes I find that a light feeding and lower light, I just put him off to the corner where he's not bothered by anyone, and a really light feeding. I'm not sure if being stressed prevents them from being able to properly photosynthesize and create a food source. So I find that a very like a light feeding once in a while can sometimes help them improve. How do I know he's suffering? You can see there the skeleton off to the left. That's not good. You see those tissue, the head is receding back into the skeleton. That's not good either. But I do have quite a bit of hope for this one because I do see it open from time to time. They want to live. So instinctually, again, back to that intelligence, something inside them tells them to live. Except for stratosphere zoanthids and maybe exospheres. Those things are losers. I hate them. And they don't want to live because every time March gets them, they melt. Oh yeah, mushrooms for sure. Some St. Thomas mushrooms mixed in with some Rhodactis. Absolutely. Now these I would feed the mixed coral food, but I just happen to feed the, I mix the pellets in just for the video purpose. And there really isn't a coral in the store I can say I don't feed. I don't like, okay, actually, thank you, good timing. Thank you, my lord, right there. Leather. I don't really think to feed or spot feed leather. Suspiciolaria. This is like a weird, long Xenia. I don't think to feed these. Maybe I should feed leathers because they do have polyps and he looks like he's kind of reacting. I don't think to feed green star polyps because one, I've never seen them color up or color down. They are green and that's it. I have varieties of green. As you can see, I'm a little bit weird. I collect different varieties. I'm up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 varieties of green star polyps. So sometimes it's a slight variant. It'll be like a white mouth or a different color tentacle, but they're more or less green and they stay that shade of green. It's not like zoanthids or like acros that can kind of lose or obtain color and show off, exaggerate the color based on their overall health. Okay, now we can see they've been given a couple minutes. The Dynamite Chalice, you see that black dot right there in the center of the yellow eye? That's the mouth. So he's pulling in the soft coral food. This one, those pellets are a little bit too big for him, so he's going to reject anything that it can't fit. This one you can get a really good example. You see that stringy stuff coming out? It's collecting the food. Every time I feed them, I'm fascinated with these animals slash plants slash whatever they are. I still do not fully understand what the heck a coral is or how it survives. And I know that seems really silly to say given I've been working with them my entire adult life, actually. From 15 until whatever I am now, 35, but they still fascinate me and they still confuse me both at the same time. Now this is a piece I absolutely love feeding. It is this large green Hadoni carpet anemone. Gotcha! It's not, it's actually a mushroom. It's about 8 inches across and it fools a lot of people all the time, but it behaves just like a nem. Some people said that it may have eaten my Bengai cardinals when I had it upstairs in one of our display tanks. Super active eater, and with these ones, this is sort of like mushroom grow out section. I'm a little bit lazy with these. I just kind of just spray them, just go to town. The same thing goes for sort of like larger sections of Gani. I don't really take the time to go individually. I just, that's it. Just let it fly and do its thing. Again, pumps off for about 20 minutes. Monty, that's a coral I don't think to feed. And SPS, I do something weird with them. I don't spot feed them. But at the end, when I'm left with the jug, I've done all my spot feeding and I have just the residual that's left, I'll usually take it over to our acro dominated tank over here, and I'll just take anything that's left, I'll throw a little bit more salt water in it, and then I'll just pour the contents, like just go crazy with it and leave the flow on. I don't turn it off in this tank. So the power heads, you know, is it working? I don't know. I like to think that it is. I see some reaction. They do have polyps, so I like to think, you know, they're there for something, maybe for eating. I'm really happy with the color on our acro overall, but it's hard to say if it's doing anything because this is something I've been doing for as long as I can remember. I just flush the toilet essentially with all the food that's left over into the acro tank, and in my head it makes sense. Like I do think they eat, but it's hard to know, you know, the same way we see with that chalice coral, or even like this chalice coral here. I can see it eating. I see the mouth opening. I see it consuming it. Oh, this is another really good one here. Also, trumpets or candy cane coral. These things with like meaty heads, lobophilias, open brains, acanthophilias, endophilias, cynarias, anything in that what I call meaty LPS family definitely can benefit from feeding. And the same goes for euphilia. Hammers, frog spawns, torches, all types of torches, the cristatas especially, I find. Those ones are a little bit trickier to keep than some of the glaborensis torches, and I find that feeding definitely helps. And they get really long tentacles the days following the feeding. I'm talking like these pieces here, now the flow is off, but like easily 6 to 8 inches in either direction. That's why I have everything so spaced out from them. You can see there's just this like path of destruction that they create. This is a really funky leather, not to do with feeding at all. I just want to show you guys. It's like a very light, oh, we have a guest star surprise appearance. What are you doing here, pregnant lizard lady? How are we looking? Almost there. Our frag is on the way. Look at this plate coral that I showed you earlier. It's trying to eat as much as it can. It's used its tentacles and these almost like the guides. You see like the parts, the lines of green. They use this to guide the food right into its mouth, and I think it's a little bit too much for this little guy, and he's probably going to end up spewing some of it out. So if you see them spewing their guts out, they're puking. It's not really a problem. There is sometimes, okay, disclaimer, there was one time quite recently, my favorite blastomusa in the store, I overfed it. I left the pumps on for a little bit too long, and it was in a spot where it couldn't clean its body, and it's this one right here. This is another one I feel confident giving it the name Rainbow because I see orange, yellow, red, green, and even a little bit of blue. You see in the top left there the tissue that's receding? I was spot feeding it, trying to get it to grow because I'm in love with the piece, and it didn't get enough current, and the next day when I came back there was some food still stuck on its body, and I think that's what did that damage, that little spot. I do expect it to recover, so that's just one thing to keep in mind. If you're going to feed heavy like March, heavy-handed, just make sure that their bodies are going to be clean afterwards. You can maybe even go in an hour after, take that same turkey baster and make sure that all the food is either consumed or not on them. It's quite rare. So many corals have dome structures and they have enough like oomph in them to send the food out, but just because of the shape of this one, it is concave or convex? Which way is concave?
Concave is in.
Concave is in. This one is got a concave structure, thank you lizard lady, and it almost invites the food to sit. So yeah, one little disclaimer there. I really like these plate corals. So satisfying to feed them. But as well as these yumas, they do the coolest like inside out. They like completely close around the food. So many strong fish in here, so even though I have the flow off, they swim by and they kind of mess me up. They kind of throw the food around just with, oh come on man, just with his tail. It's this large blonde nasotang that's actually up for grabs. If anyone's looking for a quarantined, healthy, been in captivity for years, it's just here in the basement, so it's not really getting the tank that it deserves. You can come pick them up, buy them online, pick up only. We don't ship fish anymore. You can absolutely use the same food. That is the mixed reef food, not the pellet food. You can absolutely use it to feed all your zoas. Again, try and get it cold in some way because that's how you're going to get it to sink down into the head and not float away just into the water column, because what's going to happen is your filter is going to end up eating most of the food instead of the coral. If you have it just floating away, you want that heaviness. And at least twice a week I'm down here. Oh, hello, Astreopora. Such a funky and cool and rare coral I've actually never seen anywhere but here, and the guy that I bought it from. But twice a week I'm giving all of our, these are kind of our grow out mother colonies in the farm. These guys are getting a feeding, so all the Favias, Lepastrias, Cyphastrias, Jack-o'-lantern, all these name brand classic encrusting pieces, even some of them that have no name, kind of like this one and this one, which are really overdue for fragging, and this one. All of these guys also get fed. Even cabbage coral, go ahead. Cabbage feeds you, so you should feed them. Mushrooms again, I love these, almost elephant ear style, massive fire mushrooms. These things are like almost 5 inches across. Any sort of bounce mushroom is going to appreciate feeding. We have these sun-kissed. This is another one I'm not 100% sure if it's effective. I like to say that they do close a little bit. These are the clove polyps, and I get pretty good growth out of them. People have told me clove polyps don't grow fast for them. I would like to say I'm proud to report the opposite, and you know, not as reactive as, let's say, the Duncan, but I do see, if you feed them slowly, you do kind of see them over time start to close. Something we're doing is working for sure, because the growth on them is quite good. Now we're getting again close to the end, and I give it one final swish, and then, like I said, the acros just get doused in this stuff. I really don't have to worry about nitrates, phosphates, because it's such a big system, because we're water changing so much, taking so much volume out of it. I've really just never had a problem doing that. So that's the disclaimer I want to give you. Do as I say, don't do as I do. I like to show you guys a lot of times on the channel the opposite. That's it. If you guys comment below, you'll be entered to win. We'll send it to you basically anywhere in the world. And if you're in the US, you have a shop and you're interested in carrying it, it's now available. So you don't have to just watch our videos and wish and pray and hope. You guys can carry it as well. And I keep saying, you guys owe it to yourself. You owe it to the shop to have it. It's growing. It's taking over more of this stuff. And as we kind of curate and really pick our favorite brands and products, you know, because the store is small, this is one that really stands out among the other ones. Okay, guys, I hope you had fun. I hope you learned something, and I hope to see you back here on the next episode of Fragbox TV. Bye for now.